Okay. So what's the next stop for Ethereum? Well, for those of you holding ETH beta and hoping for ETH to go into price discovery, this would be the next stop for Ethereum. So let's go into perfect. Okay. So look at this. We were talking about this on Friday in the Discord too after hours. We're just on taking a look at charts. So on the way down on this last leg, Ethereum created multiple CME gaps. Okay, so CME gaps, these take place on CME futures charts. Why is this important? Because Bitcoin and Ethereum have ETFs now, they get traded on equities and equity markets. Equity markets are 5 days a week, 9 to 5. They're not hustlers like us in crypto where it's 24 hours, whatever. Because they don't trade 24 hours a day, gaps can take place in the chart. What does that mean? Well, from the time that the session closes to the time that the session opens up again, the price of Ethereum may have fluctuated so much that by the time the session opens again, the price gaps down significantly lower or significantly higher, creating a blank space in the chart because the trading didn't take place there. So for example, on Friday, let's say ETH closes the day 5 p.m. Eastern at $2,000. And then over the weekend, because crypto is still trading, even though this CME chart is cut at 5 p.m., crypto is still trading. At the end of the weekend, ETH is at $1,000. So it dropped down 1,000 points over the weekend. So on Monday, whenever this CME chart opens up again and creates the next candle, there's going to be a gap down from 2,000 to that 1,000 new price point that it starts at on Monday. So now there's a gap between 2,000 and 1,000. So the reason there's a ton of alpha in these charts is because these CME gaps love to get filled at some point. Could be next week, could be in 6 months, could be in a year. But at some point, these gaps get filled. That's how these charts trade. So the same way that they get filled to the ups or to the downside, right? If you gap up and create charts or gaps below you, right? These things get filled to the upside. Well, beautiful. So first gap that we had to fill on this last Jeet all the way down here whenever people were capitulating, 1400, we created this gap. What do we come back and do? Immediately, boom, refilled the whole thing. As soon as we refill it, we pump straight up into where? Who could have foreseen this? The very next gap in the chart is exactly where we topped out on ETH. We come in, this gap right here, we fill this entire gap. Boom. What does that mean? That means that on the next leg up on ETH, whether it happens this week or next week, but I do believe it's going to be very soon, by the end of May, if not beginning of June, when we take this next leg up on Ethereum, we're going to fill this entire gap. So the price on ETH is going to come up to 3,300, okay, on the next pump. So it's going to be up another, 25, 30%, at least 30%, I would say. I mean, it's probably going to fill the whole gap, so 35% we'll call it. Big fucking move on ETH. So this is how quick these charts are going to move. And why I have confidence that ETH is going to fill all these gaps this cycle is because these like to get filled. This move down, this is why this is very important. So let's do a channel. Let's do this. So look at how this downtrend played, right? Okay. Look at this channel. As quickly as this price nuked down this channel, this steep, until we finally broke out of the channel, and then look what happens. Boom. This will play both ways. If you have a super aggressive G in nuke in price, just straight down, boom, right? Why would we not be able to have the same thing to the upside? Why not, right? It's like, of course we could. So we could start like this. Look at that. Right? Why would we not be able to have as an aggressive of a move back to the upside? So you see, we start down here in the channel, right? Pop into the channel, we start creeping up, pump straight up, come all the way to the top of the channel, and then come up into here, right? So up into this move. So every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So just as fast as price can nuke down over a couple of months, that price can recover in a couple of months. I don't see any reason why it couldn't, right? So next move on ETH is going to be 33, 3,200 up into this range. Then we probably pause out for a bit, reaccumulate down in this $3,000 to $3,200 range. And then what do? We're coming for the last gap. Where's the last gap at? Up in here at 39 to 4,000 ETH.